Hi, Craig Howard here again today. I just want to ask you a simple question. Are you ever afraid? Now, let's be honest. Everybody gets afraid sometimes, don't we? I read about a thing that happened, and I actually could have taken this devotional a couple of ways after I read this. I read about a thing that happened in Baltimore where the mayor in an interview told people to be careful parking next to white vans, and when asked where he got that information from, it went all over. People said, okay, I can't park next to white vans. I got to be careful where I park. I got to watch out what I'm doing. And people began to be afraid of white vans all over the city of Baltimore. And they're like, what's going on? Everybody with a white van is like looking suspicious. And they're like, where did the governor get this? Where did the mayor get this from? And finally, it came out that when asked, it came out that he got that information on Facebook. It didn't come from some law enforcement agency or something like that. He had seen a post on Facebook where people had said that it's dangerous to park next to white vans. And so I could have done something just on gossip, because that was nothing but pure gossip, unfounded gossip. We have 2 white vans in our parking lot here at the church, and you can park next to them anytime you want, and you're not going to get abducted, I promise you. Now, we might ask you if you want to get in them and come to church, but other than that, you're going to be safe. But I wanted to talk just a minute on fear, because people get afraid of a lot of things, and some things, deserve to be afraid of. I was visiting with a person the other day, and they had a pit bull, and I was just sitting there talking to them, and I was looking at the pit bull. One of the things that you don't do with pit bulls sometimes, at least you don't do with this one, is make eye contact. And I made eye contact with this pit bull, and it lunged at me. And I have to admit, I was afraid. They caught her and settled her down. But for a moment there, I was afraid. But there's things that we get afraid of that we shouldn't be afraid of. And one of the things that we shouldn't be afraid of is sharing our faith. One of the things that we shouldn't be afraid of is being the kind of person that Christ calls us to be. And, I think sometimes we're afraid of all the wrong things. We're afraid to talk to our friends about Jesus because we're afraid, what if they reject me? What if they don't get along? What if they don't agree with what I have to say? What if they reject me on this? And so we are afraid of being what we should be in them. The Bible has a couple things to say about it. It says in 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, but God has not given us a spirit of fear. Then it goes on to say, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Fear doesn't come from God. If you're afraid to talk to a friend, if you're afraid to be a witness for Christ, if you're afraid to let your light shine, if you're afraid to let people know that you're a Christian, that's not coming from God. That's not God telling you to hold back. Maybe they won't accept what you're saying. That's not God doing that. God doesn't give us that spirit of fear. He gives us a spirit of power and of love, and He tries His best to give me a sound mind. But I'm afraid even God sometimes runs into trouble there. But we're supposed to not be afraid to be what God calls us to be as Christians. Yes, there are times where people are going to make fun of us. Yes, there are times where people are going to put us down. And there have been times in other countries and other places, there are times where believers are paying a huge price. There are parts of the Middle East right now that if you're a believer, you'll get a big N put on your house or on your business, and you have just a couple of choices. You can either pack up and move, you can convert back to Islam, or you can pay a big fine, or you can suffer the consequences. So there are places where people have a right to live in fear, and yet even those people don't let go of their faith because God didn't give them a spirit of fear. He gave them a spirit of power and of love. You sometimes wonder, well, I just can't say anything to my friend about Jesus, or I don't know how to stand up and be a witness for Christ. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. God's going to be there with you. And if you'll take that stand, if you're willing to take that stand and be what He calls you to be, you can make a difference. He will give you the power. He will give you the energy. He will give you the passion. He'll give you everything you need to be that witness for Jesus Christ. But you just have to be willing to stand up and be counted. I want to encourage you today. Take stock. Ask yourself, am I afraid? to be what God has called me to be? Am I afraid to be a witness for Jesus Christ? Am I afraid to let my light shine before men so that they may see my good works and glorify God who is in heaven? Am I afraid to be the Christian that I claim to be? Because if you are, you need to have a conversation with the Lord and you need to do something about that. Well, I just want to encourage you to be a person of courage. Courage not in yourself and in your own abilities, but courage in the Lord. Take courage in the Lord. Take strength in the Lord. And you can find it no matter what it is you're facing. Maybe your fear that you're facing right now is a tremendous medical struggle. I want to tell you that you can find strength and courage in the Lord. And I know that sounds empty and hollow because I'm not going through it. It's easy for me to say that, but I can take you to numbers of people who have learned that and found that in their own life. So what I'm saying to you is you can find courage. You don't have to be afraid. No matter what it is you're facing, you don't have to be afraid because God will be your strength. He'll be your courage. He'll be your power. He'll be your source of love. He'll be your all in all if you'll allow Him to be. Well, my time is gone. If this was a help to you today, share it. If you're watching it on YouTube, share the link or click subscribe or do whatever you need to do to just encourage others to watch it. I hope that you just live a courageous day today. I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless you.